Coach, what are your overall thoughts following our second weekend of MAC play?
I have a couple thoughts. Number one of our top performers was one of our sophomore middles, Gentry Warwick. And at Northern Illinois, she ended up just being a real steady performer for us and a smart attacker. She hit 462 on the weekend, which is pretty impressive. And what's important to note is she worked off both our setters, both Hayden, our sophomore setter, and Gracie, our junior setter. And she's a smart attacker, and they both found success with her and she with them. I was just very proud of how well she worked around the block. Sometimes not in the most in-system sets, but it was great that the connections we had showed progress from a middle setter offensive standpoint at Northern. Second player I want to mention is Chelsea Williams, freshman, really settling into her game. She always stays aggressive as an attacker, and I wasn't surprised when she led our team in kills with 30 on the weekend, and she had a very impressive, 294. And it's for any fans that watch the interview here, for a hitter to hit close to 300, an outside hitter especially, is very impressive. You expect middles to hit 300 or over, sometimes even close to 4. So there's a difference because of the double teaming of the block that the blockers will do against our left pins, and Chelsea's one of those left pins that fights through the block and decides what shots to make. So she hit that 294 and also led our team in digs per set in, really just about her 5th weekend out in her career at Miami. So, she did something that changed something that was very important in her approach the week before, and in doing that, she made it a part of her game and was very consistent with making that correction that our offensive coordinator, Tanya, worked with her on. And I thought that was a difference maker for her and how well she did. And I'm just really proud of her progress as a whole in the second MAC weekend, and she's a very promising player. Brooke Jackson is the third player I'd like to mention. A redshirt sophomore, very determined student athlete, very determined, very coachable. And she also worked through a couple things in her offensive game, brought it to the weekend at Northern, and it really paid off for Brooke and for our team. Although we didn't win the matches this weekend, I thought the level we went to offensively at different times was very promising. And so she's a right side player, and she ended up leading the team with a 485 percentage, I believe, and had 2.5 kills per set, and also put down 8 blocks to the floor. And she's a 5'10" player, has a big jump and a big heart when it comes to competing. So it was just a real good weekend for our offense and for many of our hitters and setters, but unfortunately we didn't win the match. But I also want to note, our setter combination, since we're running a 6-2, Gracie and Hayden, they had real solid performances as both setters and defenders. And Hayden, as a sophomore setter, gave her best weekend in terms of performance, digging balls with 2.5, and she had 20 on the weekend. So that was a huge jump for her, and she's a good learner, and she knows where to put her eyes now. And so it makes a big difference in how well she's playing. So as I said, we lost both matches, but we played effective enough for anyone watched the game to know that we positioned ourselves to be able to win in set 4 and couldn't pull it out, and again in set 5 and didn't pull it out. So we're that close, but we really have taken a good look at ourselves to say, what do we need to do to get over the hump and to make sure that we can earn those wins. So one thing for sure is that winning is not going to come to us. We have to really get that aggressive mindset, work smarter, and go to the winning and make sure that we get it done. I think this weekend we have a chance to do that with at least one of the teams. We'll see. But it requires a real cohesive play for us to get a lot better in our ball control, just at moments that really count, and to just be instinctive in how we make our decisions, because volleyball doesn't give us a chance to change our mind or to overthink. Just one quick decision, believe in it, do it. And when that happens more often with everyone on our court, it's going to be a different team.
We prepare for Toledo Thursday and Ball State Friday. What are you expecting from these opponents, and what does your team need to do in order to be ready for back-to-back tough opponents?
Sure. Toledo is coming off a very respectable pre-MAC schedule, and after 2 weeks are 3-1 in conference play. They show 2 fifth-year players on their roster. One of them is their very best talented libero. Their go-tos are 3 senior attackers. 17 is Alt. I believe she's one of their top hitters, 4 kills per set. And the other 2, number 18 Erickson and number 15 Boer. both with just over 2 kills per set. They really work hard to get it done, and our block is going to have to work very hard to stop and touch a lot of balls so we can convert. That'll be an important key in that game. They have number 2, Macy Hatkovich, I believe is how her name is pronounced, starting setter for them in a 6-2 or 5-1. So if they run a 6-2, they'll bring a different setter in with her on the court to accommodate the 6-2. Jason is the coach there in his 6th season, and I have been able to observe all the teams, obviously. I've been here a while, but every time a year goes by, in his 6 years, Jason seems to bring his team to the next performance level and even to a notch higher in the MAC standings. And as a result of that, I know they enjoyed NIVC tournament, postseason tournament play. After the season last year, they made the MAC tournament and were invited to that special postseason invitational. So they're going to bring their best to Millett Hall, and we can be sure of that. My quick review of Ball State would be that the Cardinals put themselves to the test as well in the pre-MAC competition with an even more challenging high RPI schedule. They placed first in the MAC last year, and they jumped out strong to a 4-0 start also in conference play. They're out to prove themselves again this year. They had a really great year last year, and having won the regular season, I'm sure they want to do it again. Beyond that, I know they'll bring a strong attack to Millett on Friday, as they are a very fine blocking team and very aggressive attacking team. In blocking, they average 2.8 blocks per set, and that's just in the MAC matches, but I think that holds true for their season so far. And Madison Buckley leads their team in blocks per set. She's a sophomore right side, and she does a great job as well. So to beat their block and keep their defenders off balance, it's important we settle into a very good passing game, because that will allow our setters to find a really good offensive mix with our talented hitters. And the better we pass, I believe the better our offense is going to continue to perform. To position ourselves to find success against both these opponents each night, it starts with putting forth our very best passing and defensive games. The platform skills are key, going all out competing with that aggressive predator mindset. And I would say through all of it, we have to have a very effective court communication system moving through our team, because that communication and making the timely decisions louder is going to help us, and also help us to have our best ball control matches of the year. Having that better ball control in and out of system will really help us maintain streaks, good streaks, and avoid the streaks that they continue to win the point back. So having said that, I think it'll be fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to it, and we practiced hard to get to where we need to be by tomorrow night.